welcome back. We're here at the Joker Show, and our first guest is our climate change expert that is here to talk about the effects climate change can have on society and evolution. Please welcome Lauren Legardis! So climate change, could you give us a little information about that topic?
Well, climate change can be defined as the average weather conditions over a long period of time in a certain place, and therefore the term climate change refers to the abrupt change in climate, humans being largely responsible for the recent climate change.
And how does climate change affect the Earth?
Well, our Earth is warming, and these rising global temperatures have been accompanied by changes in weather and climate. Glaciers are shrinking, ice on rivers and lakes is breaking up earlier, and plant and animal ranges have shifted, and trees are flowering sooner. Sea level is rising, and there is a loss of ice and more intense heat waves.
How does climate change affect our society?
Climate change could affect our society through impacts on a number of different social, cultural, and natural resources. For example, climate change could affect human health, infrastructure, and transportation systems, as well as energy, food, and water supplies.
Wow. And how does the change in the climate affect the animals today?
Climate variability and change affects bird life and animals in a number of ways. Birds lay eggs earlier in the year than usual, plants bloom earlier, and mammals come out of hibernation sooner. Distribution of animals is also affected, with many species moving closer to the poles as a response to the rise in global temperatures. Birds are migrating and arriving at their nesting grounds earlier, and the nesting grounds that they are moving to are not as far away as they used to be, and in some countries the birds don't even leave anymore, as the climate is suitable all year round. On the other hand, the atmosphere is sucking moisture from the land at a greater rate than ever before, causing severe droughts in many countries which are now facing reduced crop production and major drinking water shortages.
Wow. Will climate change affect different areas of the world equally?
Climate change affects people in many different ways, and more than anything, it depends where you live. For some people, climate change will be beneficial, but for others, it will be detrimental. How an individual is able to adapt to climate change depends very much upon the resources that are available to them. Those living in the developed world will be impacted to a much lesser degree than those in the poorer countries. For example, in the developed world, we have access to global food resources. If our own crops fail, we simply import them from elsewhere. The price of goods may go up a little, but that's about it. In many countries, if crops fail, then you get a famine with thousands or millions of lives at risk.
Wow, that's terrible. Looking towards the future, what can you say is going to happen as far as change in the climate?
Greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere will continue to increase unless the billions of tons of our annual emissions decrease substantially. Increased concentrations are expected to increase Earth's average temperature, influence the patterns and amounts of precipitation, reduce ice and snow cover as well as permafrost, raise sea level, and increase the acidity of our oceans. These changes will impact our food supply, water resources, infrastructures, ecosystem, and even our own health. The magnitude rate of our future climate change will primarily depend on the following factors: the rate at which levels of greenhouse gas concentration in our atmosphere continue to increase, how strongly features of the climate respond to the expected increase in greenhouse gas concentration, and natural influences on climate.
So I have one last question for you today, and that is, what can we do as a society to stop climate change?
Well, driving a car, using electricity to light and heat your home, and throwing away garbage all lead to greenhouse gas emissions, which is, not good. So you can reduce emissions through simple actions like changing a light bulb, powering down electronics, using less water, and recycling. Those are the simple things that you can do.
That sounds so easy.
It is.
Well, it was great having you today, Lauren Legardis. Thank you for coming.